Thank you so much, Quentin. And I'm so glad that we're here today. And it's great to see, I know some of you and some of you don't know, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better. Um, and I've only been at this post for about a year. I came in during the pandemic on the 1st of April last year, and things have changed so much. So I think even if you knew the SBDC before, there's so much that's new that we wanted to talk to you and let you know about some of the services, capabilities, expertise that is right here in your community, because the SBDC, it doesn't belong to any of us, right? We're here to serve. We are trying to bring together all the resources, not only our own resources, but resources of community partners to people who need them, and, connect them to you, connect them to others, and try to find all of the assets that we can to help businesses succeed and compete. And the office has grown phenomenally over the last year, thanks to some assistance from the Small Business Administration. I'm going to let Peter get into all of that, but if I could briefly, I'd like to, there's 4 of us here today from the SBDC, but 2 have other roles, which are, of course, Yolunda and Shannon. And I was hoping to introduce Shannon quickly and let Shannon tell you a little bit about what he's doing. And then Shannon can turn it over to Peter, and then we can wrap up with Yolanda if that is working well for everybody. And Shannon Beach, who I believe most of you know, he is, of course, with Community Investment Collaborative and is their director of programs. But Shannon, has been offering an incredible amount of assistance to us as SBDC has become part of Community Investment Collaborative. They took us over in January of 2020. Shannon has an incredible career with over 20 years of professional community experience in advocacy and outreach. He works primarily with underserved populations. He's an executive leader and is really experienced in strategic planning, financial management, business coaching, all of the things that help businesses successfully get off the ground and feel comfortable that their business plan is set up right to work. He has a master's degree in nonprofit management and a second master's degree in social work. So, incredibly talented. We're so blessed to have him as a partner and a colleague. So with that, I'll turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's always great to hear your life. Man, kind of take a vacation. So yeah, I'm here in my, I really am excited because, like Rebecca said, I'm here on an SBDC role. So I'm not going to get too much into CIC. When Rebecca came along, in her visionary self, she says, why don't you cross train to be an SBDC counselor? And I'm like, why not? I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of enhance, but also do more work. And so I think what I'm going to speak to is some of the opportunities that I've seen that's happened as a result of the partnership, and kind of some of the things that I'm working on to kind of help expand services amongst the community. So I think the first thing is that it allows us to reach more entrepreneurs outside the CIC spectrum. Quick note, since the pandemic hit, CIC transitioned their services for the workshops online, and we work with over 70 entrepreneurs to date. So, that's still been going strong, but the cool thing would be is that what happens to entrepreneurs once they leave CIC? So we have a curriculum, we have a very good foundation on like kind of the startup feel of it, but then working with SBDC can hit those notes of like what happens when you need like a right away solution of how to grow your business. And I think what I've loved about the partnership so far is that I now have access to that. So one of the first things that I did was I got trained in this curriculum called Growth Wheel. And this is Growth Wheel is an ever evolving kind of guide for SBDC counselors that can let you hit a little bit of everything. So that can be a whole other discussion, but primarily what I use it to do is to do something that I do well and try to like train and have one-on-one sessions that mean value to folks who need help now. So in 2020, it's kind of, what does it take to do business now? We did a lot of things on how do you market yourself differently online in particular. How do you do customer discovery? It comes with planning sheets, and with more training, I was able to do kind of a individualized workshop for the city that worked with 16 minority businesses that gave them a little bit of a training and also a 2-week experience of some counseling. So that was probably my biggest highlight. That ran from like January to about March. But through that, I kind of learned that there's so many more businesses that I haven't reached yet, especially minority businesses. So I've been working with other salons and barbers and construction companies, transportation companies, like just awesome businesses that I had no idea were out there, because primarily my role with CIC allowed me to work with CIC graduates and entrepreneurs. So for me, it's been really exciting to see other businesses and just try to work with them in a way that kind of feels like home. So I think what I can do with this now in the future is, I was talking to Rebecca about, I definitely want to do more training with SBDC, especially in minority communities, but, trainings, I can pretty much cover anything if I get a month in advance, and I can use this growth wheel. The lead trainers made me advanced status with that because I worked so hard on trying to figure it out. So growth wheel and kind of using SBDC as a hub to reach out to other participants that don't traditionally go to CIC is an opportunity I see. The other thing we're working on too is customer discovery. I think that's been a big thing that Rebecca and I talked about even before she joined SBDC. But now traditionally in a loan proposal, I can get riskier loans if I can tell you, can you get me 25 or 50 customers that would pay for your business today? And entrepreneurs have been able to come back to me and say, hey, I went on social media, I went on LinkedIn, I did all this. I got emails, I got websites, I got testimonials. So I've really been digging into that as well, as just trying to help folks understand the power of, like, if you got something that you're good at, get people to support you and we can get you the funding you need. So, I think some of the awards there's been a lot more funding approved through this partnership. And then, like I said, the increased options for us to work with other folks outside of CIC, but not so much outside of CIC, but reaching folks that don't traditionally need startup services and training, that are kind of ready to go and can use just support. So.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon. So can I go ahead and introduce Peter? Would that be okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, I'm super excited to introduce you guys to Peter Alamilla. He is the first ever full-time business counselor for the Small Business Development Center. And Peter is also our assistant director. He actually worked for the SBDC years ago for a number of years, and his expertise is in startup businesses, financial planning, executive leadership, financial literacy. And Peter was specifically hired under a Go Virginia grant that we got to help us deal with an incredible increased capacity. And his focus is Main Street businesses, minority businesses, and rural businesses. And Peter, he has worked with the New York Board of Trade. He's got his MBA from Darden. He's helped people raise money and has managed some very large budgets, but he's also phenomenal working with startups, helping people with their strategic plan, get a hold of their finances so they know that they've got cash flow for the plans that they have for their business. And, also has experience in manufacturing, SaaS, retail, hospitality, biopharma. He's kind of a diverse guy. So I'm going to be quiet now and let him talk to you and tell you about in a bit of detail what are some of the new offerings, assets, things that have become available since we joined Community Investment Collaborative and since the pandemic, and things have grown so much. So Peter, it's all yours.
Right. I'm going to pull up a presentation. I'd like everybody, if you have questions as I'm going, need clarification, don't wait. Just chime in, unmute yourself, or I'm not sure if I'll be able to see the chat when I'm going to do this, but unmute yourself and do that. If someone does chat and someone else sees it, let me know.
Peter, yeah, I'll go ahead and monitor. I'll go ahead and monitor the chat for you, Peter, and let you know if anyone pops in with some questions.
Great. I'm going to give a tiny bit of history on the SBDC. So the SBA, Small Business Administration, is a division of the federal government, and that was created years ago, 53. They were very smart in what they did. They didn't try to recreate everything at the federal level and try to understand what was happening, all the localities. They made it so the SBDC would be a local presence. And that started in 1980, and there was one in every state as of 91. Now there are 1,000 centers, and we touch 1 million people, businesses and entrepreneurs yearly, which is a huge number. And that works because we're all locally hosted. Each SBDC is locally hosted. We're only supported financially by the SBA to somewhat less than 50% of our funding. And this creates a buy-in from the partners who fund us. So whether it's a state organization, a university, a college, or an economic development center, it fosters a partnership. And that brings results, local results, that result in new jobs and companies that come together, and we help people to focus on what they're doing versus having to approach all these different topics and not being sure what to do next. We make it a little easier by pointing them in the right direction. Our local host is CIC, the Community Investment Collaborative. It made a lot of sense for them to host us due to the programs they already have. They support underrepresented businesses. They have that entrepreneur workshop, which is a gateway to their microloan program, their own counseling, office hours, a collaborative workspace, which has been closed since COVID, and mentoring and management. And we work together on various things, and it just makes so much sense because the missions just align perfectly. And our center serves these 10 areas, the city of Charlottesville and 9 other counties, with Rappahannock and Madison being the newest additions. So the key thing is we're a business partner when you need us. We're not in your face otherwise. I might follow up with you, but if you don't have any interest in working going forward, okay, you can move on and do it alone. But if you need help, we're there. And we help you achieve your goals, and it's for free. And clients do not get what they pay for. It is not like something free that's cheap. It's a real quality service. And sometimes people confuse that a bit. Here's some of our team members. We have experience in various areas from nonprofit to for-profit, specific areas like marketing and e-commerce and social media and financing, whether it's debt or equity or grants, which have been more grants since COVID, research and government contracting. That's only name a few things. There's so much more. And here are some of our partners. The Virginia SBDC has a bunch of people who help with our programs, and then other partners. For instance, I just referred someone to PTAC to get hub zone status done, because it's not a very common thing to request that for a government contractor. So we provide hands-on advising. Again, it's free. Research, technical experts, and events and training programs. I'll go into a little more depth on those. So the one-on-one assistance is everything from, this is only, again, a sampling, starting out, working on your business plan, identifying your market, legal help, intellectual property. COVID-19 response is a big deal back when we didn't know what was going on and what was going to happen next, and things were changing day by day. International trade, help with finance and marketing. Some folks know how to keep their books, but don't know how to reach people. Some the other way around, know how to reach people, but have no clue how to keep track of their expenses. I spoke with someone this morning who keeps all paper receipts and tries to throw it all together at the end of the year. There's still folks who do that. We provide research, economic data to help clients make a decision. So it could be where to put their business or what kind of people are in their location, demographics of the area and of the market, the competitor details. So you could even find out what is a good size for my business to be profitable. As you can see by size, the profitability, and some businesses just don't do well unless they're at a certain scale. Not too big, not too small. All they need to be big to make money. And it just depends on the industry. And we have all that data to use. Segmenting consumers is another one. And it gets down to the household level. I don't know how they get all this data, the household level, and it breaks it down into like 20 or 30 components of purchaser types. And then SBDCnet provides data analysis on some of the data. So they already provide some interpretation for clients to use. So we have technical experts in government contracting, digital strategy, marketing strategy, social media, and innovation. Social media was hardly a thing. It's been around for maybe 40 years, but it's only been a real important piece of what businesses do maybe the past decade. And here are more of our events. So we focused on things like the future of customers and consumer behavior. It's become a big deal now because things have changed with the COVID response and how people are behaving, what they want to do, if they want to be in person, if they want a mask. And we're trying to take a forward look at this and help clients understand how to approach that. Managing a WordPress website. Starting your business, we have a 1 session. One that's very quick. There's a lot in there. And even the 3-session expanded version has a lot in there. And we're looking into revamping that a bit, where there are some client deliverables to help them get things done versus just get a lot of information thrown at them and then try to come back to it at a later date. Selling to the federal government, there are numerous, I think there are about 20 events like Fed Contracting 101 and SAM. Cybersecurity, keeping our data protected. And we've heard a lot about even big companies getting hacked. It's pretty scary, and smaller companies don't even know how to approach it. So selling to the Commonwealth and state universities, as well as the federal government, isn't something you can just do by hanging up a shingle. You need to get certified and put into certain, sign into certain sites where you become authorized to do that and then become available to these purchasers. You can't just try to sell to them. We cover the benefits of SWAM certification. We offer QuickBooks tips and tricks, and also help people set up their chart of accounts. And we've had a lot of those events are already new, but these are even newer and just more, something I'll just like to call attention to. So blockchain basics, for instance. What even is a blockchain? It's even hard to articulate. It's hard to put your arms around what that is. Pitch Preview is an event happening 4 times this year where companies, entrepreneurs get to pitch to actual angel investors, and they get to practice. It's not for anything except for practice, and they get feedback. So when they do actually pitch for something, they're more likely to have a successful pitch. Success through e-commerce, about selling on the web. Marketing and social media now, very current person who's doing is very on top of the space. And then we have training programs like the food and beverage cohort, where people in the food and beverage space can come together and learn how to, again, it's similar to other businesses targeting the market, but the things very specific to the food and beverage space. And cybersecurity I mentioned. Lastly, we have a website jumpstart program that's unique to Central Virginia. We help established companies get a website in place. We actually have people who are developers who take care of developing a site. They'll put together a simple site with some e-commerce, possibly a short video, a simple logo, and a social media post announcing their new site. And that's free of charge once a person gets through into the program and they get all checked out. Generally not for startups. They don't really have anything to offer yet, unless they're beyond a certain point. We also advise people about being an accidental international business. E-commerce makes it very easy to get an order from somewhere outside the country. And the same with when you purchase goods. It's easy to accidentally not buy something and not really realize, hey, this is not something that's around in our border. We need to be mindful of the regulations and laws that surround doing business internationally. And lastly, connecting your point of sale and customer relationship management to your record keeping systems like QuickBooks. We have somebody who can do that. It's so much easier than trying to manually tie all these things in, which I've done. And spreadsheet's great, but when you're doing triple entry to get all your entries in, it makes it real onerous. And it's better to focus on your business, which is working in it in such a hectic way. So we tie these things together. All right.
So
I want
Peter,
to show a little bit of client
Peter,
breakdown for the prior year. What's
Peter,
that?
let me interrupt you for a moment.
Sure.
How many more slides you have? We're at the
About 3.
12:50 mark, and we want to make sure that we get Yolunda in and get a little Q&A in. So
Sure.
just
I got maybe
let
2
know.
slides to go.
All right.
I can't see what's next. Just wanted to point out all clients here and this minority only. And it's about a 30% of the people we've spoken to, which is higher than I thought it would be. And that number carries across through hours, slightly skewed towards startups. And then the number is pretty consistent for the jobs created. Yep, that was the end. The next thing, just really introducing, if anyone has any questions, we can talk about that now. If anybody was holding out on anything, these are all of our offices in the state.
Perfect, perfect.
All right,
So,
Peter, did you want to introduce Yolunda, or?
Sure. I can't see my notes. I
I
think
think
she
everybody
has
knows Yolanda here, though.
over 2 decades of experience, for-profit, nonprofit, managing teams, helping to grow companies. And I really like her background in food and beverage. She actually helped me with a client the other day who we talked about helping people narrow down what they need to focus on. This client had not submitted their plan to the Department of Health. And I was sitting there going, oh boy, that's a big one. And I wouldn't have thought of that one. So I value that expertise. So I will let her take it away unless anybody has any questions for me.
Well, hello, everyone. It's always great to participate in these calls each month. Again, as Peter said, I'm Yolunda Harrell, and I get the privilege of being wife to Quentin Harrell. And so it's always fun to be able to participate in this setting. The SBDC, I, along with most of the folks there, are independent contractors that have our own businesses, but we work in partnership with Rebecca and Peter because it's a great opportunity for us to be able to use some of our knowledge to help support other businesses that are out there that are looking to expand or start or in some cases scale. And so we get the privilege of working with them. The one thing I love that Rebecca has done with this particular SBDC, I wasn't as familiar with SBDC before Rebecca came on board. I mean, I had heard of it, but it was really kind of out, way out, and it wasn't as engaged in the community as it is right now. Part of the wonderful resources that we have is that there's experts in different areas on board with the SBDC, which makes it easier for us to be able to, I don't have to be an expert in everything. Rebecca or Peter, we don't have to be experts in everything, but what we can do is know what we know. And then we can say, hey, but my buddy Greg or Dylan can really help you with that aspect of your business. And so let me set an appointment with them. And then they can talk about the things that they are really strong in. So it's a valuable opportunity. If you have needs for your business, the wonderful thing, does it cost you anything to participate and work with an advisor? There's some folks that have been participating with SBDC for years as their business grows. And of course, they have different needs. And so, it's one of those things where we as business owners, we need to always be constantly developing ourselves and developing out our team. And that's exactly what you can get with working with SBDC. Many of you know that I head up New Hill Development Corporation. One of the things that we focus on out of our 3 pillars is financial capability, and that's working on your personal finances. And so that's part of what I bring to the table with SBDC. If we've got clients that are looking at some point or hoping that they'll be able to qualify for loan opportunities, the first thing as an entrepreneur that they're going to look at is your personal finances. So your business has got to be doing a lot of money and has engaged in other types of activity before the business itself is the only thing that's being considered. So, one of the things as entrepreneurs that we have to be cognizant of is that our own personal finance, our own collateral, those kinds of things are what is going to be looked at. So our goal is to make sure that those one, that we have better understanding around that. And then 2, we understand, okay, so where am I and where am I trying to get to so that we can then help develop out a plan to meet your needs as it relates to your personal finances, but also as it relates to where you're trying to go for your business. So, there's a lot of great community assets that are there housed under the SBDC through individuals like Ellen, who helps you with your QuickBooks. I mean, she's amazing to be able to get your chart of accounts in order. I mean, that's a great opportunity if you haven't utilized that, or if you haven't started thinking about how am I going to track my expenses. I mean, she's really great in helping you come up with ways for the novice as well as for those that are, really, more advanced in terms of doing that. But, so there's a lot of great opportunities. I know we got to get to Q&A, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but I will say, Quentin, at the end, if I could just talk a little bit about housing opportunities as well, just for anybody who wants to become a first-time home buyer or another home buyer. So anyway, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Are there any questions? I see there's a comment, Alex.
Yep, so we have a comment from Daniela, very true, more just encouraging small businesses to be SWAM certified. We have, as a nonprofit, some state funding and had difficult time to find SWAM registered businesses for our grant. That's really important, especially for state, not just like the government itself, but state institutions like UVA. And if you want to do procurement with them, you need to be SWAM certified in order to get in under as a minority business, because otherwise they cannot count you as minority business if you're not SWAM certified. So that's awesome that SBDC can help with that. So I do have a question to start, and go ahead and keep putting your questions into the chat box. I'll monitor. And this to be for anyone, any of our panelists, best point of contact to reach out to SBDC is, like, if you need assistance, is it calling on the phone? Are there social media pages? Is there a website that would be, what's the best way to get in touch if you really need, assistance and you need it soon?
Well, I like the word you use, contact, because it's contact@cvsbdc.org for the email. But we also, we have a phone number on the website. Our website, it's so hard for people to remember because CVSBDC all sounds like the same letters repeated, but it's Central Virginia Small Business Development Center. I hate inheriting. I have to spell my last name all the time too, since I married my husband. Those things are a pain. But anyway, that's our website. There's so much on there. So thank you for asking. And by the way, I just wanted to show you guys really quickly, because you brought up a friend of ours for whom we just created a website. And can I show you really quickly that Troy now has his own website, and we built it for him through the Website Jumpstart program that we received a grant, and we hired web developers to build this for him.
Nice.
And he
That is awesome.
also got a video. Yeah, he's, we're connecting people to Grubhub. We're helping them do like 4 to 5 page websites. So, and that's just one of them. So if you know someone who is struggling because they're not online, please give us a shout.
Absolutely. Andrea has a great question here. How long is a typical counseling session?
Well, an initial counseling session, usually, people really want to talk about the whole business, right? And we also want to explore, what personally motivates you, what's important to you, and then really understand where the challenge areas. And so initial meetings are often an hour and a half, I'd say, and then follow-up meetings, sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's 2 hours if we get in front of a whiteboard and start going to town, or we come visit the business. So it's kind of all over. But we often schedule an hour and a half first, and then, hour meetings after that. And just, we really work on the schedule of the entrepreneur.
And to add to that question, Rebecca.
Go for it, Andrew.
Good. Well, to add to that question, can a person keep, I heard Peter say, we're not going to necessarily come to you, but we're here for you. So can a person just keep coming as long as they want?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. It is, was it Yolanda? Did you say we have clients that we've had for years? And, they'll go through a growth hurdle or a hiring hurdle or a particular, maybe they need a loan, and then we don't hear from them for a while, and then they want to do something new, and maybe it's marketing, or now it's a lot of e-commerce and grants and things. So yeah, the topics always change.
And it's great because, information is constantly changing and growing. And as an entrepreneur, you're not always aware of everything that's going on out there. But, from the SBDC perspective, because it is, a part or supported by the SBA, a lot of things that's happening, in terms of opportunities or changes to different programs, that's where if you're constantly coming back, one, you'll learn about those. But then two, as Rebecca said, if you're going through a growth hurdle, something has changed, or you're trying to do something different in your business, this, just think of the SBDC as a part of your extended team. And we all should be thinking about how do we grow our team, whether they're hired or whether they're individuals that we can work with and collaborate with that are there for the sole purpose of helping you and your business achieve its goals.
Yeah, that's perfect. We're partners you don't have to pay for, and you can ignore us and we don't get mad.
Exactly.
And the
Great.
question about identifying the right counselor for you, Donna Clark is our office manager and client services coordinator, and she knows all of the experts, not only in our office, but the other ones we tap into and who's best for what. So if you have a really specific thing that you want to explore, we can get you to the right expert quickly. If you just want to explore your business, we try to match you with somebody who has industry experience in your particular field.
Try to do an initial meeting first, go through a whole health check before we give them to that specific person. So I'll most likely do that. I did one this morning, and I try to run the gamut around all the questions of what's going on with their business to get a bigger picture feel for what they're facing versus the request. And then they get to that specific person afterward. And you don't have to figure that out for yourself.
Excellent. Kay also has a great question. Do you guys offer at SBDC any SWAM certification workshops? So
Yes. In fact, we have one coming up. So it's great. It really is. I highly encourage everybody to get on the website. We have a calendar and we list other people's events, not just our own, that may help for business. And we have SWAM certification courses regularly. Also, if you're in the midst of it, one of the folks that Peter showed on his slides is with SBSD, and they will walk you through the SWAM certification if you're having any trouble. We can connect you to those folks with, just make an email connection.
Mm-hmm. When is the upcoming one? If I can ask?
I have to check our calendar. I'm thinking June 10th, but I could be wrong. Let me look.
While you're doing that, just a reminder, everyone, you can save the chat from today's message. So that has all the websites and links that we're sharing there. I believe that if you just on the bottom where you would typically type it, there's a little thing that says file and a little image, and then there's 3 dots and ellipse. And if you hit that, you can then save the chat. And so all the links that we're sharing, you can take with you to go.
Can I pull up my calendar real quick just to show you all? And the SWAM certification is on the 10th, but this is a screen, the screen of our calendar for June. So you can see here, we've got social media marketing, a starting your business class. This is that presentation to the angels. Here's SWAM certification course, which is, it's short. It's an hour and a half. We have this actually isn't ours. This is from a community partner. They're doing some work on cryptocurrencies, and you can see there's some other things in here. So the calendar is a great place to check. And we talked about all the business topics. You see here, we have this resources by business topic page, right? And so you can really just have a lot of fun on our website, but of course we'd rather talk to you.
Man, these are, personally as a business person, this is an outstanding resource of information that you all have. And I just want to say, like, I can't express the point enough with Minority Business Alliance's mission of partnering with nonprofits and business partners in this community to create community wealth building. That wealth building is not only for your businesses, and it doesn't always necessarily just mean money. Wealth building is having strong relationships and access to resources and accesses to information. The money comes along with that when you implement, but I don't know if you guys missed it, but they said free a lot of times. This service is free, but to Peter's point, it is not cheap service. It's excellent professionals that have been in the business for many, many years. Please take advantage This is being recorded, and I look forward to all the other MBA members out there and community members that are business owners as a whole to take advantage of this opportunity. We wanted to take the advantage of exposing the SBDC to the larger community. Please take advantage of, make Rebecca have to hire more people by using their services. Please.
Thank you so much, Quentin.
Yeah. So are there any other questions out there? If not, I'll ask a question.
None right now. Go ahead, ask it, Quentin, and keep putting them in the chat.
Cool. All right. So this is for Rebecca, Peter, and Yolanda. From the businesses that you all have worked with in the past year, what have you seen as the major resource that people have been, or businesses have been looking for or needing? Yolanda, I'll start with you because I'm married to you, then go Rebecca and Peter if you have an answer.
Well, thank you, hon. So I would say, again, we work with different levels of clients, but I would say a lot of them, of course, are looking for financial resources, for capital. Of course, for those that were already in business, it was ways to stay in business, to stay sustainable last year. But then also, folks are also looking for ways to reach the community, more e-commerce presence. And that especially last year, that became a top priority because a lot of folks had not put the level of priority on that aspect of their business that should have been there before. But then when they saw that, okay, now people are not just able to walk in or just, find me, or we can meet in person. Now we need to really think about our e-commerce presence. So that was part of what I saw last year. And I'm sure Rebecca may have seen something different with some of the clients that she worked with.
Hey, so yeah, I work a lot with the growth companies that are innovation based. And I think there's always a need for capital, but they in particular needed assistance connecting successfully with investors. So that's why we developed that pitch preview program. And of course, we saw so many businesses that needed websites and weren't comfortable going to web developers, weren't comfortable handing over the keys to their websites and their branding, and just also, some of that can be up to $5,000 or more. So we wrote a grant with incredible help from Go Virginia and Community Investment Collaborative to be able to build 114 websites for businesses in our region. And we actually think we might get more money if we go through all those websites. But being successful online was the biggest thing. Learning how to communicate online, learning how to find your customers, use all the tools effectively. And with that comes knowing who your customer is. So we had to spend a lot of time sort of backing up to really customer discovery and where do you find your customer online, right? Because the shotgun approach just doesn't work anymore. So Peter?
I've been in the role 2 months. I'm not sure if I've seen a pattern, but I'm seeing what I used to see before. People don't know what they don't know. And when you go through a full comprehensive health check, you uncover stuff that people should have. Like for instance, somebody operating hair salon using chemicals, no insurance, stuff like that. You uncover that by asking your questions. And it's still the same way in terms of that. But beyond that, no big patterns. But those things where your eyes go, whoa, not insured and other things. It's really helpful to add that piece of value.
Interesting. Andrea, did I see your hand raised?
I was applauding when Rebecca said they did 114 websites. That was a clap.
All right. Let's see. Are there any other questions? We got 4 minutes, people. Come on now. I rest Peter. Now you guys are not going to fill it up with more Q&A.
Can I ask a question of the group? I'd really like to,
Yes.
Hear from the members. What do you think are some of the needs or areas of need that would be most helpful to your businesses?
Kajal?
I would say, for me, being a startup, finding more funding opportunities for us that are startups. I know with me, it's been very hard to do that. So I actually enter a lot of business boot camps and things like that, just to get more experience and more educated in the business field and into the financing field to see what is out there for us. And I know with the pandemic, it was kind of hard, but some of the funding that was awarded, I think they should have maybe thought about those that was trying to start a business during the pandemic time, because hey, probably at this point in time, we could be helping some of those that were struggling. So, that's just my take on it. That's what I've been running into myself as a startup.
Thank you.
Thank
That's,
you for sharing that.
yeah.
Kajal?
Hi, hi. Sorry, I was muted before and it took me a minute to unmute myself. So my question is regarding SWAM certification. For businesses that are already SWAM certified, what is the best way to leverage that? I know you had said that, if you want to do business with UVA or you want to apply for some resources or grants, SWAM certification minority, which basically tells people that you're minority owned or woman owned, is very helpful. So for businesses that have already done that, what is the best way to sort of use that certification and be able to get opportunities or funding or other kinds of resources?
So once a company gets SWAM certified, then we work on a capability statement. And it's basically a one-pager that is about what's your product or service, what is unique about it, what experience do you have, and then we help you market to the government organizations or agencies that will buy that. We help you figure out where they are. So let's say you could sell to UVA, which is one that a lot of people try to sell to. We find out who are the buyers and we get that capability statement to them. And because you're SWAM certified, you're a priority. The state and federal governments have goals that they try to meet. The federal government is required to meet them. It's a suggestion for the state. They don't have to, but we actually, know UVA very well, and they are not doing as good of a job as they would like to. Their procurement office is trying to fix that. So we would help you get that capability statement together, there's a series of codes that describe your business by which they would search for your business. And we try to help you get new customers, right? But them usually being government customers. Also, SWAM certification helps with subcontracting. If you could serve someone who has a very large contract, the subcontractors, they need to have a certain percent of those business opportunities go to SWAM certified companies as well. And if you're also a woman-owned small business, there's a WOSB, which is a woman-owned small business certification, which could also be helpful. So that's the kind of thing we'd love to talk to you one-on-one, because of course your specific business would be marketed to specific types of organizations, and we would try to help you find those buyers and connect with them.
And to thank you for sharing that information, Rebecca. And just to add to that point, there are opportunities that are in development that are truly coming down the pike. If you think about the state, and I shared a link a little earlier. So to Alex's point, please save this chat. But the Governor Northam had a disparity study done, and once it was completed, they determined that they need to take and intentionally allocate SWAM certification funds towards African minority businesses, minority and women-owned businesses in particular, And so when that is implemented and UVA will follow suit on that implementation, it's going to be needed and necessary for you to be SWAM certified. And so it's very important that you take this information that's being shared and prepare yourself, prepare your business. If you see that opportunity of the millions of dollars that will be coming into our economy to be spent with minorities, you have to be prepared. And SWAM certification is one of those preparations that you really, really need to consider. So take advantage of the resource. Please, please, please.
That's a really great point. And I'll tell you, UVA has a couple of barriers and we love kicking down doors. One of them is they require that you are recommended by somebody in UVA before you can sell to UVA.
Wow.
Yes. So we actually just had a strategy call with their procurement office because, since I got here, that was one of the things I knew about before I took this role was people really struggling to do business with UVA. They've been working with us over the last year. They're working on making that better. But right now we can make direct introductions and say, hey, we've talked to this business. They can handle a contract. We want to make sure you're financially prepared to handle a contract. And if you need to find sources of capital, we can talk about that as well, right? But if we can vouch for the company, we can work to kick down those doors until they fix it internally, which they are working on, but it's not fixed yet.
So, Rebecca, do I contact you directly regarding this, or who should I go to at SBDC to start this process of?
Yeah, just go ahead with that contact at CVSBDC. Sometimes I'm the hardest one to get with. It just depends on schedule, but we have 11 business advisors and we have a number of them that are really good at government contracting and SWAM certification. So we'll try to get you served as quickly as possible. I might not be the best one, but it might be me. So Donna, who will answer the phone as well. We'll get you with somebody as quickly as possible. We try not to make people wait.
Peter, any final words for you, Peter?
I do not. Thank you.
All right. All right. Oh, here, one other question now from Boomy. I'd also love to hear Yolunda's insight about home ownership, particularly if you own. Thank you, Bummy. Thank you for bringing that up. Because my wife reminded me, and I forgot, like a husband would.
And then another woman had to remind you.
I didn't ask you to join in, Andrea. Yolanda? Hey, don't say nothing.
I was gonna, but I won't.
I know.
The better half.
I just
Power,
love
power
my,
team, Harrell, power team, speak.
my sister's always got my back. Thank you, ladies.
Yes.
But no, thank you, Boomy, for asking that question. So one of the things that, as we always talk about, is wealth building within the community, especially within the Black community. That's part of what New Hill focuses on. And, we know business is one of those pathways, as well as home ownership is another pathway. And so one of the things that has been happening over the last year or so are a lot of banks are really looking internally at their programs and what they're able to do in order to make home ownership more affordable. So I wanted to just share with you New Hill, we are signing up. I had a meeting before this meeting with Virginia Department of Housing to become a VITA intermediary, which basically allows for us to, if you go through our home buyer program and our financial coaching program, we do a 1 to 8 match, basically. So for every dollar you save, they will put in $8 into an account that can go towards your purchase of a home. And you have two years to be able to qualify for that. But another So that's one new thing that New Hill will be offering. And we're excited about that because one, that gives folks money towards buying a home. But the other thing too, is we had a meeting with Bank of America recently, and Bank of America has a really great new program that they're offering to make home ownership more affordable. And I'm actually going to put the link into the chat because Bank of America has a new program where they have $7,500 towards down payment for closing costs. And then depending on what area you live in, they also have they have about $10,000 going towards down payment assistance. So those things combine. So our goal, part of what we're doing is how do we combine a number of things that allow people to get into a home more affordably? The other great thing about Bank of America's program is that with that particular program, it's about where the house is located. Is it in a low to moderate income tract? And also that there is no private mortgage insurance required with that particular house. So it's not about you got to have 20% down in order for the private mortgage insurance to go away. For those of you that are familiar with that, that can add, depending on your credit, anywhere from $75 to a couple $100 to your mortgage, the cost of your mortgage for the first 10 years of your mortgage. So by getting rid of that, you have effectively reduced it, but then they also are providing a number of ways to be able to, basically get into a home without any money out of your pocket. And that is really a great way for you to get started in terms of buying a home. The least amount of least amount of money out of your pocket as possible is great, because then that allows you to use your funds towards other things. So I just wanted to put that out there, that there's a number of things that are happening within our community. There's other banks like Truist and Fulton Bank as well that we're working with that are also providing similar programs. And our goal is to be able to aggregate a number of ways to be able to get you into a home through a variety of programs, so that you can get anywhere from 10 to $25,000 towards buying your home just by putting some of these things together. So anyway, wanted to share that with you. I put into the chat a link from Bank of America, because if you search through their real estate center, it shows you which homes qualify for those grants. So you don't even have to wonder like, well, will this home qualify? If it's on there, it absolutely qualifies, and it has a little tag. But I'm also happy to work with anyone and to talk one-on-one with someone that may have that as an interest.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Harrell, for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Very, very valuable information. I want to thank all the panelists that were here, but I also want to share something that slipped my mind in the beginning about something that the Minority Business Alliance is a partnership that we have in the community. With Seville Weekly, we've organized a partnership where we're in aligns with our mission of promoting our business members. So we are, Seville Weekly does a monthly spotlight of minority businesses in the community. We make sure that we always have Minority Business Alliance members in that group. You may have seen the articles before, large full page ads, and just another way of us highlighting minority businesses in this community and within the Alliance. So just highly encourage you to consider a membership with the Minority Business Alliance, or tell a friend about us. Thank you so very much to Rebecca Haydock. She had to hop off. Thank you to Shannon Beach for his time. Thank you, Peter Alamilla, for your time, sir. And especially thank you to Yolunda Harrell for her time. We appreciate you all. Appreciate all your time, for taking the time to sit with us, gain information. Hope you all have a fantastic day and a fantastic rest of the week. And we hope we see you out at the Jefferson School Yard in July when we go out and play.